welcoming everyone to our first session of our new Global Greetings event series. This series aims to connect realtors across Texas in an accessible environment that will offer global topics, industry specialists, and collective information in a unique forum format. So each interactive session will provide an opportunity to learn about global real estate at a local, state, national, and international level. And today we're keeping it local with our 4 wonderful speakers. So if you want to jump into global but don't know quite where to start, these 4 wonderful realtors are here to offer their experience, knowledge, and answers to that question. So joining us today are Texas Realtors Global Committee Immediate Past Chair Mel Harris, 2021 Global Committee Staff Liaison Susan and Nora, 2021 Vice Chair Sakar Chapman-Thomas, and 2021 Global Committee Chair Brenda Taylor. And now for just a little bit of housekeeping, please keep yourself on mute as speakers are presenting throughout the meeting. And if you have any time and if the speakers have time throughout the meeting to address your questions, they will be doing so. But if you do have a question, just leave it in the chat and we'll be monitoring that as the meeting progresses. And when they do address your question, if you want to unmute yourself and elaborate on that question, please feel free to do so. This is an open conversation and is really meant to be a discussion and dialogue about global. We'll be having breakout rooms midway throughout the meeting and then come back to the main session to continue this global conversation. So without further ado, Brenda, if you can kick us off, I know that you have experience sort of launching a global local program. So for those of us who are just like starting out, what's some advice you would have? How would you get started?
Okay, well, first of all, we know that the connection to global starts at the local level. And that was the need that we saw in our association, not necessarily to go overseas to do business with international to global clients, but we already have them right here. You know, in the 2020 international transaction of US real estate made by NAR shows that 61% of the foreign buyers are already here. They're either recent immigrants or visa holders. So the buyers that are already here living in your area need a realtor like you that specializes skills, that have specialized skills to guide them to the real estate transaction. And I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is your association already start asking questions about maybe beginning to start a new global group. You need to ask yourself, your staff, questions like, what is global to you, to your association? Every association is different. You know what your culture is, and ask yourself, why do you need a global group in your association? Who will be the group that will benefit with this formation? Let's go to the next one. And once you answer those questions, now it's time to assess, you know, the different groups that will benefit with this formation of whether it's a business council or any kind of group that you're planning on doing, and ask what is the benefit for the association? With the overall membership will benefit? What will be the benefit for your community? Those are things that you need to sit down and assess and discuss with your staff and your leadership. Once you have that, start creating goals. You know, have the leadership and staff decide, what do you want to achieve? You have to have goals to know where you're going and to be successful, right? We do that in all our business. Then you need to decide what kind of structure is the best fit for your association. Some of them out there, they have just an informal network, kind of like the YPN group, where, you know, you do network, you do happy hours. So it depends on what you feel is the best fit for your association. Some other associations also have committees. There is a little more formal. You have a chair, you have a vice chairs that guide through the whole process. You can have also a business council. These business council basically are there to provide with education, with tools that the global realtors can utilize to get to the community, to serve the community better. So that is really not a right or wrong answer. Is what the culture in your local area is, how big your association is, and what's the best fit for you. Once you have all that assessed, then the business plan comes in. And that's when you need to decide what is the mission statement for your global group, your identity, maybe create a logo, maybe put a name to it. So that way people will start recognizing that there is a global group that I can join, that is, something that I can come in to learn to better serve my clients. The next step is marketing and communication. Then this is, again, every association is different. So you need to see what is best, not only for the association, but how much time is your staff going to have. There are some bigger associations that have paid staff that are dedicated for global. Some smaller associations might not be that lucky. And then that's what you need to see. Are you going to create newsletters? Are you going to create a website? Like in my association, we have a private Facebook group, and that's where we put all our events and updates and everything. You do want to have a blog. You want to put this in social media. And of course, the event planning is the most fun part of these global groups. You can see some of your faces, some familiar faces right there. And when event planning, what you need to decide is what kind of events do you want to have? What are the successful events in the past? Who will be paying for them? Do you need to get sponsors? How big these events are going to be? And not only hold those local events, but also promote the events that are in the state or national level, like conferences, like the international cruise that there are some pictures in there. And then the outreach, for any group to be successful, you cannot keep it as a secret agency. It has to be open, it has to be public. You need to reach out to not only the members, but to the community. Reach out to diversity groups. And when diversity groups, I'm talking about area, NAREP, all those groups that will come in, bring value to your association. Chamber of Commerce, partner with them, partner with the small businesses that bring the global into our business. In benchmarking, once you have worked all this hard the entire year, you need to look back, sit with your when you're doing your planning, your strategic planning for the following year. What was successful about your global group? Again, the global group be named committee or business council or anything that you want to name it. What was successful? What can you improve? And maybe send a survey to your members, asking them what their needs are. So that way you keep growing this group. And this is mainly this is a really, really fast. I went really quick through each point to give you ideas of how to start these groups, because I have been getting some phone calls from members asking me, how can we start a group like this? Why do we don't have one in every association? And my answer is, you don't have one, create one. It's not that hard. We can help you with it. There is a course that is called Global Association, and help me here, Brianna.
Global Programs for Associations course, I believe.
Global Program for Association. Yes, thank you. And that is an NAR program. It's usually offered 2-3 times a year. When I took it, I was in DC during the legislative meetings, but I also seen it in the NAR conference. I believe they also offer it if your association needs it, they can come in and put together a group for you. So Brianna is going to share with you where to find this link and where to find more information. And they will go through all these points that I just did so quick. They will go into a full day, really deep into it. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of what you can do to either start or strengthen your group, your global group in your association.
Thank you so much, Brenda, for sharing that information. And I did drop the link in the chat, and so that link takes you directly to the NAR Global Programs for Associations course page on the NAR website. Let's launch this second poll. So, do you know what the NAR Global Ambassador Program is? So this is the makeup of the room. So perfect segue to talking about what is the NAR Global Ambassador Program. Soccer, please take it away and give us the answer to that question.
Excellent. I'm Soccer Chapman Thomas. I'm going to share my screen now. Let's see if it's going to share it. Okay, so thank you so much. I'm glad you're interested in the NAR Global Ambassador Program. So the Global Ambassador Program is designed by the National Association of Realtors. So the realtor is appointed by the NAR president. The realtor being appointed by the NAR president, that president appoints people from all around the country to serve as an NAR Global Ambassador. The person serves a 1-year term, and that term can be extended up to 4 years. So you can get actually four terms, but no more than that. Ideally, the person who is the NAR ambassador, global ambassador, has their CIPS designation and knows a little bit about the culture and the real estate practices. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next one. What is the purpose? The purpose of the NAR Global Ambassadorship is to maintain relationships with realtors and real estate professionals around the world, and to educate them about education and about the value of being having a bilateral agreement with our country. We, as NAR Realtors, we have bilateral agreements, an agreement between us as realtors and the other associations around the world. And believe it or not, there are other people who are 100% so proud to call themselves realtors. When we go on our trade missions to Jamaica, in Jamaica, a lot of the people who are part of the international group, they are realtors as well. They join the National Association of Realtors. So as a global NAR, as an NAR global ambassador, we strengthen those relationships in Jamaica and all over the world, and promote professionalism. And then I always like to call it traveling with the purpose. And we'll talk about that at the very end. These are some of the countries and regions. So there's lots of them. We have France, Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay, Australia, New Zealand, Austria, Germany, Bahamas, Bermuda, all of these, Latvia, Belgium, Netherlands, Belize, Costa Rica, Panama, Brazil, Chile, Bulgaria, Serbia, Cambodia, any place that you can think of that you might want to go to, that you might want to visit, there's probably an NAR global ambassador in that region. Here's the next regions, all the way from Georgia, Moldova, Romania, Ghana, Nigeria, South America, India, the UK, Italy, Portugal, Spain, Japan, Mongolia, all the way down to the Philippines. We are fortunate enough to have someone who is our NAR coordinator. And is she on the line today? Do you know? Okay, my brain just went offline. But as an NAR global ambassador, you have to talk to the NAR global coordinators. The coordinators are the ones who have the power. As a global ambassador, if we are global ambassadors, I'm not one. I'm a global member of our TAR, our Texas Realtors Association. I'm on the global committee. But NAR has people who are designated to speak for NAR, and they are called the NAR global coordinators. And our global coordinator is the one who you talk to, and you talk to them. And if you are if you are an NAR global ambassador, you would talk to the NAR coordinator to tell them what's going on in the region. The main goal here is for us as people who are interested in global. If you are interested in becoming a global ambassador for NAR, contact NAR. You can fill out your application. It's all online. You can go to nar.realtor, but be aware, they're going to want to know, what are you doing globally anyway, first of all. Second of all, you do need to have your CIPS designation. They don't say it's required, but I'm just telling you, it's required. If you don't have it, they're going to go, oh, hi, nice lady from Austin. It's so nice that you came to talk to us. You don't get it. And so you're going to end up not getting the position. But just because you are not designated as an NAR global ambassador does not mean that you can't travel with a purpose. And I always travel with the purpose. So I like this. I like love traveling. This is in France. I went to MIPIM. Tiffany is here. These are some of the things that we gave out at MIPIM. And MIPIM is a international real estate conference. It's the largest in the world. The last time they had one in Cannes, France was in 2019, because it was canceled in 2020. It was canceled this year. Hopefully in 2022, we'll go again. But make sure that when you travel with a purpose. So what can you do? What I do before I travel is I look to see where I'm going, and I talk to the global ambassador from that area. And it's all online. It's all on nar.realtor, and you can look up global ambassadors. Go to that region, see who the ambassador is, contact them, and tell them that you're traveling there. And they'll make an introduction with you and a person who is a real estate professional in that area, as in France. And then you meet that person, have coffee, have them show you some real estate, and then you go on about your way and enjoy Cannes, France, or Nice, or wherever you find yourself in the world. If you're going to Jamaica, you can call Howard Johnson, who is one of our contacts. He actually is Jamaican, lives there, and we've met with him, and he is on the NAR Global Council, and there is a bilateral agreement between us and Jamaica. And so you meet him, he'll show you around, and then you go on your merry way. Why do I say travel with the purpose? Because my CPA, not yours, talk to your CPA. This is what my CPA said to me. If I go to Uruguay or New Zealand and I speak with a real estate professional about real estate, then my airfare and my lodging is going to be tax deductible. That is considered a trade mission. So what I would suggest for you guys is make a trade mission every single time you go to some place internationally. You don't have to be the designated NAR global person in order to travel with a purpose. And I think that's it for me. Any questions? I saw some chat stuff. Oh, yep, there's all the stuff. Yep, I went to MIPIM. Very cool. Yay, that's it for me.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Tiffany, for dropping that link in the chat. So now we're going to go ahead and move into our breakout rooms. And so let me go ahead and do that. And Susan, so let's go ahead and start with you. I know that you are multilingual and you do a lot of your marketing and your business in both English and Japanese. So you can share with us how you do that.
All right, here we go. So my name is Susan Honora, and I'm with the Honora Realty Group in Houston, Texas. Our firm started in 2010, so we've been doing this for 11 years. And what we do is predominantly the Japanese market. My background, I'm actually not Japanese. My dad and mom, my dad's from Hong Kong, my mom's from Taiwan, and I was born in the States, but I married someone from Japan. I went to Baylor. I did my junior year abroad and ended up marrying a professional athlete and moving to Japan when I was 22. And I lived there until I was 35. So my adult life was in Japan, and I'm fluent in Japanese because of that. I used to be a radio DJ when I lived there. And then I moved back in 2007. And again, I got my license in 8 and started my brokerage in 10. And because I spoke Japanese, I thought, okay, I'll just try to get the Japanese. But it's really hard to get the Japanese when you're not Japanese and you don't read and write and you're not perfect in Japanese. So I struggled a little bit on how to brand myself and how to market myself and get them. But right now, I think, fast forward 11 years later, we're in a spot where I think that we probably are the predominant firm in this particular niche because we've just really, really, really worked on the marketing. So what I wanted to share with you today is some of the things that we do to market ourselves, just some tips and tricks that we do so that you can maybe do them too, and you can get the market that you're after. A lot of it is, all stuff that y'all could do because, I mean, if I figured it out, you can figure it out. And I learned it just by trying to do it and seeing where we were falling short and seeing what the competitors were doing or seeing what other successful people were doing and going to conferences and listening to other speakers. And so anyways, so let me get into this. I think I hit this button. So the first thing, marketing yourself to international clients. The very first thing is to offer everything possible bilingually. Especially for the Japanese, they want to see it in their language. So just me sitting here speaking English and writing English, they can't really differentiate me from every other brokerage. So we started offering all our stuff in Japanese as well, everything. And I'll give you some examples. The second thing is to get reviews, as many as you can, because they trust what other people say. And if you can get the reviews in their language, even better. And the third thing is to sponsor and or participate in local events so that they can see you out in the public, and that will kind of boost your trustworthiness. So heading into offer all information bilingually. Some of the examples of that are your website. For example, is your website only in English, but if you're going after, whatever, Mexican clients, it probably needs to have some Spanish in your website so that they can kind of say, oh, okay, yeah, they're legit. They do, understand our culture. Your website, your newsletter. We have ads in popular publications. We have ads in places that we know that they look. And I'll give you an example in a minute. Promotional items, business cards, and even in your introductory video. It's kind of embarrassing. completely humiliated, but I did it. I sucked it up and I just did my intro video in Japanese, and I'll show you that as well. So here's an example of our website. It is a mirror image of our English website, and it was not easy to make. I suffered and struggled and cried and actually had to check myself into a hotel room to get this done, because we have so many distractions and the website's like such a pain. I totally get it to make, but it is worth it to spend the time and effort to make a good website, because I mean, let's face it, everyone finds us on the web. So it took me, this just happened on our 10th anniversary, which was 2020, last year. So embarrassingly, before last year, my website stunk. It was terrible. It was like homemade. I made it myself. I think it was free. It was terrible. And I wasted 10 years of getting my name out because my website stunk. It was terrible. So when I finally said, okay, I'm going to put my foot down, 10 years is here, I'm going to make a good website, I had to fly to California and interview webmasters because I could not find a good Japanese webmaster in Houston. I couldn't find one. No, there's no professional website masters that are Japanese that, I wanted a Japanese one for the layout and also for the language. I needed to make it legit so that when a Japanese person looks at it, it looks like it's really a Japanese website. So if you look my company up, it's anorarealty.com. On the bottom right corner, you can see it's a mirror image of the exact same website, but in Japanese. So they can actually toggle up to the top and hit Japanese and see this thing and click through the whole thing. The entire thing is in Japanese. All right, the next thing is a newsletter. We just started this year. Ed Eakin is actually on this conference call, and he put me on his list and I got his, and I thought, oh, that's a great idea. And even though a newsletter is so much work because we custom make all 5 of our articles, they'll make the 5 articles for you if you want to. We custom make every one of our articles, and we translate it and we shoot it out to about 480 Japanese people, or mostly Japanese people who are past clients. And it's like current news in Houston, hey, what's going on here, or new developments, or it could be, hey, here are the Honora Realty closings, or hey, this guy came to Houston from Mitsubishi, so welcome to Houston. Just whatever information we can do, and we do it in Japanese also. So when they click the picture, it'll show, like we just did the mask mandate, we just lifted that, it was kind of big news, so I put that in there. And there's our governor, and then the articles in English, and right after that, the articles in Japanese, so that they can immediately kind of connect with me through the newsletter. Thank you, Ed Eakin. All right, the next one is an example of an ad in a popular publication. So this is it's called the Bentley Show, and they have like this big, thick book, and it's like, hey, if you come to this particular book was for Atlanta, Tennessee, Alabama, Texas, and we were approached to say, hey, do you want to put an ad in our welcome book? And I was like, okay, I did this for like 5 years, and I'm like, you know what, I don't know that it was very, very expensive. It was like $2,000, and to me that's a lot. So I was like, I got scared, and I don't do this one anymore. I don't know that anyone was really finding me from that, but whatever. This is an example of our ad that we put out in that publication. This is the Japanese Business Association of Houston's directory. And so in the bottom right corner, it says that I joined the JBAH probably like 7 or 8 years ago. It's like super impossible to get into. Somehow I got in there. I think one of my clients was like a big wig in there. But if you can get in there, then you're really rubbing elbows with every single company in Houston. And every person in Houston from Japan is listed in that book. So of course, when there was an opportunity to put an ad in that book in the back of the directory, I was like, oh, it's like $350, but to me, that's totally worth it. And I just put the whole entire ad in Japanese in their directory so that they could find me. Here's an example of promotional items. So, we sponsor, we don't sponsor it, but we participate in, like an annual golf tournament that the JBAH puts on. And we hand out our fans so that when people are sitting in their golf carts, they can fan themselves. And on one side, it just says, hey, welcome to Houston. On the other side, I just put all of our information in. It's all in Japanese, just so they can find us. Here's a really easy one. I think it's very overlooked, but if you are really focusing in on a particular country, when you print your Christmas card, when you print your business card, do it bilingually. So this is an example of our business card. they look exactly the same, the front, but on the back, it's just like a little touch of Japanese. It has my name in Japanese, and then that I'm from Texas, and that I speak Japanese. So just, you know, do a bilingual website, bilingual business card. Okay, this is completely humiliating, and I'm not gonna play the whole thing because I think I might die if you see it all. But I made a introductory video for my website and also for my HAR profile, my HAR profile. So it's kind of posted all over the place, and I'll just play a little snippet so that I don't humiliate myself too much in front of you. So let's see.
はじめまして、ヒューストンへようこそ。私はアンノーラ・スーザン、アンノーラ不動産の代表です。皆様のヒューストン生活が快適なものとなるよう、不動産関連業務全般のお手伝いをさせていただきます。住宅の賃貸、売買、投資、物件管理、そして商業物件、アパートの紹介など、すべての不動産関連業務を行っています。どうぞ質問や相談はお気軽に電話、メール、もしくは LINE でお問い合わせください。Hi, my name is Susan Kwakanora. I'm owner-broker of Anora Realty Group, a full-service real estate company specializing in international client representation.
And anyways, it's just introducing who I am and what I do and who the team is. And I guess the bottom line is try to make a bilingual introductory video. All right, I'm moving on to Act 2, which is get reviews, because foreign people, well, it's the same as us if we were going to try to do business in a different country. We don't know good from bad, right? So one way to figure that out is reviews. So I put our reviews, and it's very painful. It's just extremely horrible. I hate it. It's so stressful, but I know that after every transaction, I'm going for the review. I ask for it every time, and I get it wherever I can get it. Because I participate in the one for HAR, they're very, very strict on the way that they do their reviews. If you opt in to do reviews, you're 100% in or you're 100% out. So I'm in, which means every single transaction I do has to get rated. And if I say, ooh, that one didn't go so well, I don't want to have that person rate me, then I get kicked out of the entire system and I can't do the HAR reviews anymore. So here's an example of a HAR review. The only thing about our HAR review, our HAR reviews, is that we can't have them write in Japanese. So if they start writing in Japanese, the words come up all crazy and no one can read them. It's like, I don't know, the software can't read that. So, you know, the Japanese person has to write it in English, which doesn't help me too much. What I have not switched over, but kind of supplemented that with is Google reviews, because Google will let them write in Japanese. And so, you know, especially if it was a good transaction, they were super happy, I will almost say, hey, you know, do you mind writing a Google review for me in Japanese so that people can, you know, when they search me up, that they'll find that. And they normally will. And then I'll like shoot them like a, I don't know, $20 something Amazon card to say thank you. You know, it's just give them a little something for helping you out. We only have 29 Google reviews right now, but you know, this year we're kind of trying to work on that to try to make our, you know, because everyone Googles us. You just have to realize that everyone is Googling us, and try to get more Google reviews. And then, you know, we have a company Facebook page. We're not very good at, you know, getting reviews on there, but it is another place that you can get reviews. I have 5 reviews on there, which is, I guess, not that good, but we'll work on that as well. All right, I need to move on. Here's Act 3, sponsor or participate in local events. We do 3 things. There is an annual softball tournament put on by that JBAH, and like literally every Japanese person in the entire city of Houston is participating in that in one way or another. So we are on Team Izakaya Wa, and we are the jersey sponsor. And so our little thing, you know, logo appears in the sleeve, but in that top left picture where all those people are like huddled together, that's our team. Nearly every one of them has bought a house through us. So that is one way to get out there. Participating in local events. These are pictures of us participating at the Japan Festival in Herman Park, 20,000 visitors a year. And, you know, this is my kids' elementary school. We sponsor, you know, whatever it is, their school carnival or whatever it is to get your name on the board and just get some local exposure out there. Okay, finally, I need to get into this. My second topic is supposed to be how to network with other global realtors. We've actually kind of gone over that with Brenda. She did a great job talking about why we should have a global committee. These are 10 reasons, and I'm just going to fly through them so I can get you through this, because I actually have pictures to accommodate. Here's number one: join your local association's global committee. On the left there, that's HARs. Those are, these are like-minded people that are trying to do what you do. They're trying to like connect with foreign buyers or sellers or whatever, relocation folks, or in our case, we do a lot with investors out of Japan. These are some of my best friends. I mean, I've been on the committee for like, I don't know, 10 years or something. And these people are like brothers and sisters to me. I mean, we have our own group. If anyone is ever in a pinch, we know that we can text each other at any time and ask. So join your local association's global realtor. Join AMPI, that's the Mexican equivalent of NAR, or another country's NAR equivalent. You can meet a lot of global realtors that way. Attend international conferences. Like Soccer said that she went to MIPIM, which I think is cool. It's like in France, it's like very sexy. I went to AMPI, which was also very sexy. It was in Mexico. I went twice, and I can see Jose Lopez is on the call. Ed's there. You see Ed, you see Pius, you see Betsy Sachs, you see all of us that are doing this kind of, international global stuff at these international conferences, because that's where all the global realtors are. And you can really meet a lot of really good friends and developers through going to these international conferences. You can see Simca is over there on the right as well. Join ARIA or other associations with global partners. I think Tiffany Wu was actually at this event as well, as the America-China Real Estate Summit. I just happened to be one of the founding members of ARIA Houston. And this is an event we put on, and we invited like 100 and something realtors from China to come and do an event together. Just a lot of mixing and matching of, hey, what's going on in your country and what's going on in our country with real estate. It was a really good event. The mayor came, and the Congressman Al Green was there, and it was kind of neat. We've all touched on this one. Go on international trade missions, right? This is like the funnest part of being a global realtor. I've been on two. I went on two recently. Belize was in, I think it was in 2019. It was when Pius was the chair of HAR International. He put together a trade mission. We all went to Belize for like a week or 5 days, and it was a blast. We visited a whole bunch of developers. We met a whole bunch of Belize realtors. Pius came back with like 100 listings. It was a very successful trip. And then on a different trip, we went to San Miguel de Allende with like 6 girls and maybe one guy from HAR International, just to visit them and see, hey, what's going on. And they invited us to an AMPI meeting that they just happened to have. And then they took us to like a broker open house of all the Keller Williams Allende open houses, so that we could go see their product and how much it costs and what you get for the peso. And we got to become really good friends with those realtors in that picture that says KW Allende. We got to be really good friends with those guys. And so that's another way to network with global realtors. Here's another one. This is an easy one. Join an internationally minded brokerage. Like we focus on, Japanese and all that. So if that's what you're into, join a brokerage that does that. I know Pius is with Engel and Bokers. That's a German-based thing because he's the German ambassador. That makes sense to him, so he joined that. So join a brokerage that kind of aligns with what you're trying to do internationally. I think we all know this one. Get your CIPS designation. That's the Certified International Property Specialist designation, is a NAR designation. And everyone that gets this has something to do with global, because that's why they're getting it. But they have their own network, and it's very massive and it's very amazing. So get your CIPS designation. This is here in our own country. Attend an annual NAR or TR conference. There's always like an international component to the conference. So the NAR conference, they have that international night out, and everyone gets dressed up, and it's super duper fun. And you can meet like an entire room of people from other countries that are all realtors. And that the one on the right is the TR conference. I think it was in San Antonio. Me and Pius like drove up there and drove back in one day. But the AMPI president was there, and all of us, a lot of people in this actual chit chat room, this seminar that we're doing are in the picture. We were welcoming the international guests that were attending the TR conference. So that's something that you could be doing as well. This is an easy one. Set up your HAR, TR, NAR profiles and tout yourself as a global realtor, right? So here on the left is my HAR profile. It says, hey, you know, our whatever, our tagline, international client representation in Houston, Texas, Japanese expat relocation specialist. I don't know, I just came up with that, whatever. Just come up with something that makes you look global. And then on the right is, I don't know what that is. Oh, that's also my HAR profile. It just tells people, you know, my background and stuff like this. But set up your profile so other global realtors can find you. And finally, promote yourself on social media as a global realtor. On the left is our company Facebook page, and on the right is our Instagram page. And so we post up, you know, some of our closings with our international clients. That one right there that says close, that's the head chef of Nobu Houston, and the executive sushi chef, bought a house with us, so he's posted up there. So anyways, these are just tips and tricks on how you can market yourself to international clients, and also how you can network with other global realtors. So I think I went way past my time, but hopefully you found that useful.
Thank you so much, Susan. And thank you for those who have dropped their information in the chat. If you have any questions for Susan, please drop those in the chat as well. We're gonna move right along to our final portion. So Mel, share with us a little bit about, you know, CIPS, the resources that come with that designation, and any other resources that are useful for global realtors to utilize.
Sure, and I'll make this brief, and of course, Brianna can always send the links or drop them in the chat. But the main purpose of this was to share the opportunity of making sure you have resources and tools to put in your toolbox. You know, once you get your CIPS designation, and even before, just to get information, because NAR provides a lot of useful information and resources as far as the benefits to have your CIPS designation. And, you know, one of the guidelines is how to make a checklist, how to research communities so you can get involved and understand different countries and what they're all about, resources, their cultures, their languages, you know, their currencies, things that are important, so you can figure out, okay, if that's something I'm interested in, especially if it's a country that you have interest in for whatever reason that may be, just because you love to travel or you have a family member that happens to have gone there or may be of that nationality, whatever it may be. And there's guidelines for doing country assessments and making checklists and things of that nature. So there's lots of different resources that are out there for you. And, you know, international transaction resources and research, just so you can understand how many international transactions happen in Texas, where they're coming from, which, you know, inbound or outbound countries that are involved with those things. So, you know, just a lot of valuable information. Housing pricing, the indexes for each country and how those things work, and, you know, the value of those properties in other countries. And so if people are coming inbound, what they would be expecting to look for in Texas compared to what they have at home. And if you're talking about doing business in another country, you're going to need to understand how that real estate market works, how their index works, and the housing values, how it's structured, if they use attorneys or not, or if it's just a Commonwealth situation, what the currencies are, what the square footage versus hectare or whatever dimensions. You're going to need to know all those things. Other things that would be useful, which are part of the checklist that, you know, we go through, is how do you reach out to these people, you know? And we talk about embassies and consulates and places that you can reach out to get information for these countries. How do you get connected with them? We have resources here in Texas for you with that involved, so you can find resources directing you to, so you can go and familiarize yourself with, you know, those organizations, which will help you in your marketing or your networking or just education and getting these things done. So, you know, there's other things that you need to know if you're going to be dealing with other international or global transactions and buyers. And, from not only the tax complications or, like kind of exchanges and whether they can do those or not for 1031s. You need to be aware of those. So I've given some links for the IRS publications because those are things you need to know. So when you're building your team, which you're talking about a real estate attorney that understands foreign transactions, CPAs, finance people that understand foreign transactions and the value of those dollars and how those are being put together, totally different than what we do in the United States. So as you're putting your team together, it's very important that you meet people, network with them, get to find somebody that you're comfortable with so they can give you their expertise. Our whole point is to be the source of the source because we're realtors, but we're not attorneys. Unless you are an attorney, you can practice law as well, but most of us aren't. So it's important to have that team put together, regardless of what they may be. If you're going to have somebody that you're going to be trying to tour people when they come into the States, that's another part of your team that you're going to want to put together because it's important to have that component. So, taxes are important. Withholding is important because the United States is going to want their money. So you want to make sure that you can advise your clients appropriately on how that works. And then also have an expert that works with, FERPTA laws so they can explain those in detail. And that way you can just pass that on, but at least you're familiar with what those things are. And so, NAR, International Real Estate, has a lot of components for that as well. So I'm just going to make this brief, be cognizant of the time. I don't want to continue to lose people, but there'll be a whole list of resources that Brianna can make sure that you can get access to. And so it's important to have those tools for your toolbox as you start to endeavor into international and global real estate, and to make sure that you're not afraid of it because there's checklists you can walk through, get to know people, and do as much networking after this event as possible for all those people. And lastly, but not least, NAR has a mentorship program as well that you can sign up for to help guide you with, and they can, connect you with a person that's been doing this for a while that has experience in international transactions, that had those transactions under their tool belt, that have volunteered to mentor so they can help people out and guide them through it. So it's very important to make sure you have those resources and that you're aware that there's help on the other side of the pond, regardless of what you want to do. So don't be afraid, jump out there, endeavor, and enjoy. Thanks.
I want to thank you all so much for joining our first Global Greetings event, and have a great rest of your day.